This is Candor Talk. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get right into the show. But before we get into the show, don't forget to check out our website, sylviaexpress.com. Hey, fabulous people. Oh my goodness. My sincerest apologies. I am swamped with work. For now, I'm just going to be doing this show. I'm not going to be able to do like the Trump regrets and, you know, the Not Normal series. And not closer to the midterms, I intend to start releasing more of the Not Normal videos, including the one that I promised you guys, and I feel so terrible about that. I'm so sorry. In addition, I've also decided to get involved in the immigration fight. Because I'm taking on those cases as well. They're complex. They're very complex. But I don't want to just talk about the abomination in the White House when I know I have the power to do my part. So I want to do both, like Avenatti. Expose the corruption and do something to stop the bleeding. So your forgiveness, I respectfully request, if you listen to the show, I respectfully request your forgiveness. I was going to do the show on Saturday, and then John McCain died. And I just want to say something real quickly. Rest in peace, John McCain. Just a tragic loss. I honestly have to say that I disagree with him pretty much on everything politically. But in terms of the courage that it took for him to be able to stand up to Trump during this time period, and he was like one of the lone people who did it, and he also was somebody who made sure that they didn't take away Obamacare. I mean, I think, not to mention his military record, but the thing is, it was just a great loss for the American people. Honestly, he was a voice of reason in a very, very, very corrupt Republican Party. And so I just didn't want to do it on Saturday. I just felt like people are mourning, and I felt like it was inappropriate. And then there was Sunday. Then there's the shooting, the mass shooting. I'm like, I'm not doing it there. That's callous. And then yesterday was my son's birthday, so I was like, oh my gosh. And then today they're like, it's a primaries. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm doing it today. So anyway, I ask you guys for your forgiveness, please. Anyway, so look at the Mueller investigation as a puzzle being built from the outside inward. Essentially, the center is Trump, and that's the very last piece. He started out with the pieces that were lower-hanging fruit, those that were so guilty that they couldn't mount a defense. They weren't just loose affiliates. They were people in the campaign. Flynn, Papadopoulos, Manafort, Gates, Cohen. Then you start getting closer to the center after you get those people. Now, before I get into talking about the explosions that have gone off on the Trump presidency, I have to say, when this investigation is concluded, they must study this Mueller team. I hope Mueller writes a book on how he put this together. It's masterful. I'd buy like hundreds of copies and just keep reading it and reading it. I attend every lecture he did about it. I'm fascinated, and I'm not easily impressed. However, holy shit, goodness gracious, what on God's green earth is happening? Honestly, though, I feel like Trump's fate was so predictable. Criminals don't change just because they were elected to office. Look at the two indicted GOP congressmen. There's a saying that you can take a person out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the person. Essentially, you can take Trump away from his crime syndicate in New York, but you can't take the criminal out of him. He just decided to run his operation in the White House. He's like, look, I'm just going to take the operation to the White House. But now, he's paying for it. Mueller set up a coordinated and strategic attack. He was dispersing cases around the country, making it impossible for Trump to end the investigation. And I've said many times that Mueller was going to secure and protect that investigation. And damn it, didn't he do it big? Mueller is a stud. He gives new meaning to Dream Team. He's likely the best prosecutor and legal strategist of our time. And to show you how much of a stud he is, even after Manafort's conviction, they didn't say a word. They didn't release a statement. They just got right back to work. Oh my God. But anyway, back to Trump. Now there is the New York AG criminal probe into the Trump organization. Here is what's happening. Here it is.
Reuters reports that on Thursday, New York's Attorney General sued United States President Donald Trump, 3 of his children, and his namesake foundation, alleging persistently illegal conduct at the nonprofit, including support for Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. Barbara Underwood, the Attorney General, asked a New York State judge to dissolve the Donald J. Trump Foundation and impose bans on Trump, his sons Donald Jr. and Eric, and his daughter Ivanka from holding leadership roles in New York charities.
Okay, the significance here is stark. There isn't anything, literally anything, the imposter can do to stop this case. He can threaten the New York Attorney General, but he has no power to fire or pardon anyone. That's not accidental. That's deliberate. they can change. I mean, they can charge Trump Organization federally because he operates across state lines, but they didn't, and they didn't on purpose. While Trump is sending messages to Manafort that he would be open to pardon him, the New York Attorney General responded like, "Oh no, homie, how do you pardon Ivanka and the Fredo boys? Go ahead and pardon Manafort because we'll just get people even closer to you." The outcome of this case is definitely one to watch. I'm telling you guys right now. Look, Trump might save Ivanka by resigning, which I doubt, but he's never saving the Fredos. Look, Fredo boys, you are on your own. You are on your own. It's documented that when Don Jr. was born, Trump didn't even want him to be named after him. He commented, "What if he's a loser?" So don't think that Dad's got your back, boys. You get indicted, he's the type of father to send you a cease and desist letter to stop using the last name. Last name Trump. He'd be like, "I told you to use your mother's maiden name. I told you to use your mother's maiden name. If you continue to use the last name Trump, I will be forced to take legal action." Okay, that's the kind of father you have. Okay, the kind of father that will send you a cease and desist and be like, "Do not use my name. Use your mother's name. Use your mother's maiden name. Damn it, Don. I told you I didn't even want you to have my name." Okay, so don't get it twisted. Go get good lawyers, kids. You need them. Also, let me just say something. I never doubted that Manafort was going to prison if he didn't cooperate. He only had three options: die in prison, cooperate, or commit suicide. And I always hate saying the last part, but unfortunately it's true. And I said that before in one of my previous shows. Whether he was convicted on 18 counts or 1 count, that's a win for the prosecution. 1 count made him an undisputed convicted felon. But he was convicted on 8, and that sealed his fate. The D.C. trial, though, will be smooth sailing for the prosecutors. Much more amendable and less compromised judge, and a different jury. This next case deals with conduct of Manafort while part of the Trumpleone's campaign. However, his conviction is a monumental turning point in the imposter's future. Here's why it matters. It shows a pattern. At the very least, Trump hires criminals. Do innocent people surround themselves with criminals and then remain oblivious to their crimes? Or is it more persuasive that not only do they know about it, but they are willing participants? We aren't talking about even Papadopoulos' level. We are talking about the man that headed the Trump-Leone crime campaign. Then his deputy, the deputy campaign manager, also indicted and pleaded. His national security advisor also pleaded. His personal lawyer pleaded. His accountant got immunity. So at a minimum, it shows that Trump is a criminal. And his criminality has been confirmed by Cohen that just lit Trump's ass on fire. He literally lit his ass on fire by allocuting and deliberately naming Trump as a criminal conspiracist. Oh, Cohen went all the way off. Cohen is the first person to make Trump completely impeachable without any refutation. Here's what Cohen said. Here it is.
Michael Cohen left the U.S. District Court in Manhattan after admitting to tax evasion and campaign finance violations.
Michael, what's your message to the president?
Cohen's voice cracked in court as he answered the judge's questions and admitted that Mr. Trump directed him to make hush money payments to adult film star Stormy-Daniels and Playboy model Karen McDougal. Cohen said the payments were made in coordination and at the direction of the same candidate, and that it was done to keep the women from disclosing information for the principal purpose of influencing the election.
Oh, man. And Cohen pleaded guilty to multiple charges, and as part of his plea deal, he must do what's called allocution, in which you admit to the crimes you pleaded to and admit the facts surrounding those crimes. Cohen wasn't supposed to name Trump, who was currently, unequivocally, at a minimum, an unindicted co-conspirator. Prosecutors don't name those who are unindicted or when the indictment is sealed in charging documents. They deliberately left Trump's name off. And Cohen was like, "Oh, nah. This fraud got me in all this shit and you want me to keep his name out? Oh, not today? Not today? Oh, you guys thought I was going down alone? Oh, that's so cute. Hell nah. Trump, we'll go down together. We will go down together. I'm not going down alone. Oh, this is the Trump-Leones, homie. We all fall on the sword. Remember all that speeches you were talking about? We all die and go down together? Oh, we're going to go down together today. I'm going to say your name, and I'm going to tell them what you did. Oh, don't think you're just walking away from this. So it's just going to be me? Oh, no, it's not going to be me. Just me. Oh, no. That's what Cohen did. Cohen went and just named and started naming Trump and did not have to. And even Trump is now talking about impeachment. Listen to Trump. The fraud. Anyway, here he is.
I don't know how you can impeach somebody who's done a great job. I'll tell you what, if I ever got impeached, I think the market would crash. I think everybody would be very poor, because without this thinking, you would see numbers that you wouldn't believe in reverse.
Okay. Just imagine being so dumb that you think everyone, 330 million plus people, will be poor if he gets impeached. The guy is a space cadet. I mean, he's so far gone mentally. It's oh my God. But why is he bringing up impeachment, though? Why are they talking about impeachment? Conveniently after he's implicated in criminal conduct? Because impeachment has never been closer to his doorstep. My theory from day one on Trump was that he would either be impeached, resign, or they would invoke the 25th Amendment. Impeachment is the most viable option. He has to be impeached now. Because it's not just Cohen saying he's a dirty, rotten criminal. It's the CFO and the National Enquirer. Listen, when I heard about Allen-Weisselberg, the CFO, immunity deal, I literally jumped out of my chair. That, my friends, was a nuclear bomb. It was always about the money, and now they got the money guy. Now here's what they say happened. Here it is.
Allen-Weisselberg was given immunity by the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office. That was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. Now our sources are confirming it, as you said, for providing information about Michael Cohen in the criminal investigation into hush money payments for two women during the 2016 presidential campaign. Now, when he was granted immunity, we're still working out those details. This news coming after the Journal had also reported President Trump's longtime financial gatekeeper was called to testify before a federal grand jury in the investigation earlier this year. Now, we've reached out for comment from Weisselberg directly. So far, have not heard back from him. He has served for decades as executive vice president and chief financial officer of the Trump Organization, and reportedly handed control of his financial assets and business interests to his two adult sons soon after Mr. Trump was elected. Now, this is...
Okay, here's my interpretation. If Weisselberg got immunity simply for the Cohen case, that's an absurdity. If he just got immunity after Cohen-plea, then it's even further preposterous, as Cohen already pleaded guilty and there will not be a trial. Therefore, why would they grant Allen immunity for a resolved case? However, if he received immunity before Cohen pleaded, he still would have to divulge criminal conduct with Trump. Therefore, in my opinion, it's impossible he got immunity simply to testify against Cohen. They had receipts, shredded documents, recordings, statements, tax returns, witnesses, etc. against Cohen without Weisselberg. Why give criminals immunity to convict a criminal you have dead cold? My belief is that Weisselberg is telling them about Trump, not just in SDNY, but the New York Attorney General and Mueller. That puts Trump's presidency in peril. I said earlier that if you don't hear that Cohen was indicted within 4 weeks of the final evidence being given to the prosecutors, then he was cooperating. Avenatti said repeatedly that within 90 days, Cohen will be getting indicted or charged. Both happened. I say this because it's imperative to listen to people who actually practice law when discussing legal issues and legal implications. Trial lawyers like myself are in court almost daily. We know how this process works. All the spin the media was providing became so nauseating that I turned them off for long periods to restore my own sanity. They deliberately create suspense and manipulate the news to keep you engaged. They made people believe that Manafort might not get convicted, as if Manafort wasn't facing a subsequent trial. I had to tweet out for people to stop panicking about the Manafort case before the verdict and to stop listening to the media. People were literally panicking like, oh my God, he's going to get acquitted. They've even pretended as though Cohen may or may not be facing criminal charges, which we now know that he pleaded guilty to those, and that he isn't cooperating even after his plea. Why would Cohen plead at this stage, implicate Trump, and face prison time because he wanted to get nothing? His only hope for a reduced sentence, and the only reason the plea was only 8 charges and max 5 years, is because he's offering up evidence and testimony and information to the prosecutors. There are several reasons not to put a cooperation deal in the plea agreement. One reason would be so other conspirators don't find out that he's cooperating. Another is to blindside Trump and to protect Cohen's security. And then there's David-Pecker. Here's who David-Pecker is. Let me get to David-Pecker. Another interesting one. Here it is.
The man behind the National Enquirer and one of the president's closest friends granted immunity by federal prosecutors for providing information about Michael Cohen and Donald Trump and 2 hush money deals with a porn star and a Playboy model ahead of the 2016 election. That's according to the Wall Street Journal, which says David-Pecker met with investigators and shared details about the payments arranged by Cohen and Trump's knowledge of them. In exchange, Pecker will reportedly not be criminally charged for his involvement in the deals.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so David-Pecker just made it impossible for Trump to claim Cohen lied to save his own ass. Even if it's true. Well, then why did Pecker come clean? Why did Pecker ask for immunity? Why was he given immunity? Now, instead of just Cohen, there's Pecker and Weisselberg. Clearly, there were crimes committed, and they confessed to their culpability. Can't spin that now, imposter. You can't spin it. Sorry. Now tell me, how does Trump last his entire presidency as a bona fide confirmed criminal? I don't see it. Once he's impeached, he's toast. Dems take the House, he's getting impeached, or they better impeach him. I'm telling you right now, if Dems don't impeach him after they take the House, they'll never win the House again. But I'll say one thing. I pray that the Dems don't run on impeachment for the midterms. Don't run on impeachment for the midterms. That's just going to rally up his base and get his base excited and get people to come out there and vote. Right now, he has a pretty depressed base. If you start getting them excited about things like, oh, they're going to impeach the president, that the imposter in the White House, then they're going to go out there and start voting. So don't run on impeachment. It strategically will backfire. Focus on issues and corruption. Get the House and then impeach his ass. And let me just say something. There's so much to discuss as an avalanche of legal problems drop on Trump. But I don't have all the time to do that, and honestly, who the hell wants to listen to all the legal issues? But my impression after the bombshells that have been going off is that Trump is toast, politically and legally. I've never viewed him as a legitimate president. He's always been an imposter to me, but this past week has confirmed his illegitimacy. Another thing, and I just have to say this before I take a break. This might be a crazy time to be alive, but just remember, you are living through one of the most significantly criminal presidencies in the history of the U.S. presidency. You're part of history. This story will be told, and you live through it. I'll be right back.
Make a dawn in this.
Hear me now, Mitch Mueller. Drop that bomb buckler.
I'm feeling like $1 million. Cutting up just for the money. We like nip and tuck. Jet like Benny from the Sandlot. Cost $50,000 for my Hancock. Ah, baby, riding to the top. Driving haters crazy, never gonna stop. I'm feeling like $1 million. Cutting up just for the money, we like nip and tuck. Wristwatch, tip top, pockets on a milli. Give a toast to all my people, we like dilly dilly. Pilot boys staying fly, Super Bowl like Philly. When they ask me if I'm fly, I'm like really. 3 steps ahead, staying on the move. Don't listen to the gossip, it's barely ever true.
All right, fabulous people, thank you for sticking around. And you know what? The one reason why I really like listening to that song is because I know people hate the things that come out of my mouth. Some people do. Some people like it. Some people hate it. And I don't care. I'm going to say what I believe. I'm going to continue to say what I believe. And there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, there's legitimately nothing you can do about it. So that's part of the reason why I like that song. But anyway, I have to say something, and this is important, so kindly indulge me. Okay. My enemy of my bigger enemy is my friend. That's my philosophy in politics. Like I said, please indulge me in what I'm about to say because I believe it matters. Now, what do I mean? I mean that in the battle for the preservation of the greatest experiment on earth, any person that is willing to help remove this flagrant foul from the White House and has power to do damage and is willing to, whether they previously transgressed, it's of more consequence to me that they rectify their transgressions by aiding the government and removing a tyrant than it is to dwell on the previous transgressions. I'm saying this because I think it's a critical moment that we must capitalize on. For example, look, Omarosa isn't torturing the White House by these slow releases of recordings because of contrition. She is doing it for revenge and money. However, the end result of what she's doing matters more to me than her motive. She's doing irrefutable damage. Now, what incentivized her to do this is likely more money than revenge. Therefore, what would keep her incentivized to continue torturing the White House with these tapes? And let me tell you something, they're being tortured with these tapes. What would keep her incentivized? Book sales. Omarosa selling her book does damage to Trump. I say this as someone who adamantly despises Omarosa. I'm a black woman who hates, I won't say hate, despises Omarosa for what she did to the black community and what she did to help and aid a tyrant. But I view her as an ally now in a common battle. the removal of Trump from office. So I intend to buy her book that I'll never read because her book sales hurt Trump. It's not just about candidates, but it's about impactful people being engaged and staying the course. No matter what you think of them, they are risking their lives to expose and destroy Trump. How do they stay the course if we don't support them? We need them. They are critical in this moment. It is not hypocrisy to cheer your outrage. It is not hypocrisy to change your position on an issue. And it's not hypocrisy to choose a lesser of two evils when the greater evil has the power to destroy your entire country. It's the same rationale prosecutors use when given immunity or plea deals for people to testify against a greater fish for smaller or no punishment. They incentivize those who help them stop a greater threat. We should apply that same principle here. Cohen is going to become one of the most consequential people of this era. He's the first one to publicly name Trump as a criminal. That comes at a cost, not just financially, but legally, physically, and professionally. How does Cohen survive the onslaught or remain incentivized to continue his destruction? It's we the people. So I ask people to put aside their previous disdain for these Trump affiliates and help incentivize them to cure their errors. No matter how you look at it, the damage they did is done. It can't be changed. The flagrant foul stole over a year of our lives with their help and support. That won't change. So what do we do now? We create allegiances with those who have the power to help remove Trump from office. We incentivize them by giving them the courage to continue until he's removed. We don't need to glorify them. As a matter of fact, we don't even need to like them. But we need them. If you can help Cohen's legal defense or help raise money for him, it sounds absurd. But trust me, they didn't do this because of their righteousness and goodness. They did it because of incentives, and we need them incentivized to keep talking. This is all about strategy minus emotions. This is a tactical position I am taking. The United States has never been in greater danger, and it's not from an outside threat. It is from the President of the United States. The easiest way to destroy the U.S. is from within. Therefore, it will take Americans of all backgrounds, good and bad, to stop him. That does it for me, you fabulous people. Don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise. You are absolutely fabulous. And that past week has been fabulous. Best week of the imposter's presidency for me was watching him just bombs going off. The onslaught was so fierce, Trump couldn't even keep up. Before he could spin one catastrophe, another one happened. I'm loving every second of it. Every single solitary second. The more miserable he is, the happier I become. Yay! Oh, anyway. So literally, the best and most consequential moment in his illegitimacy was last week. So anyway, guys, have a good week. You wonderfully, likely unindicted, not criminally convicted or pleaded people. And I will see you Saturday. And reminder, I cannot do the Trump regrets anymore right now. And I'm not going to start doing the Not Normal shows until like a month before the midterm election. But nevertheless, I'm going to still continue to do these shows. So by God's grace, I will see you guys on Saturday. Have a good week. Like I said, you're probably not indicted, you're probably not criminally pleading, and you probably aren't convicted of a crime, so your week should be pretty good. Have a good one, guys. Take care.